I was once again electrified. That's why my hair is standing on end. Recently I tested the electric Renault Zoe, the slightly updated version with a bigger battery. And I also tested the Nissan Leaf as well, but this one has, well, more equipment, and it also has the, I think it's called the Pro Pilot, which means it sort of drives itself. In a way, I'll show you that. But how about we do a slight comparison between the Renault Zoe and the Nissan Leaf. Let's look at the Leaf first. But first of all, I do have to say that compared to the previous generation, it really is no comparison. The previous generation was ugly. This one is actually quite a good looking car. It looks a little bit aggressive, a little bit futuristic. I like it. It's got these daylight running LEDs and also the optional LED headlights, which I think on a electric car is quite a good idea. And of course, because it doesn't need a radiator, it has this plastic over here, so it's probably more aerodynamic. But they also, you know, had a little bit of fun with the textures inside. It looks pretty cool. Yes, why should an electric car have to show everyone how different it is, and weird, and futuristic, and how you would have to drive around with your head covered with a bag? The second generation Leaf is cool. Yes, it lets you know it doesn't have emissions while running, but that's it. With the top equipment level, there's a few things in the car you might not expect in other electric vehicles, like leather and heated seats. But as always, the best thing with these cars is the actual drive. No gears, smooth acceleration, and practically no noise from the engine. So, how does it compare to the Renault Zoe, which is definitely the cheaper option? Okay, I talked about motorways a little bit before, but let's talk about them in more detail. Electric cars aren't really designed for motorways at the moment because they just guzzle electricity. But if you do have to take your Leaf on the motorway, it's not a problem at all, because even at 130 kilometers per hour, I press my foot down and 140, 150, and it's limited to 150. It is no slouch. It's actually surprisingly quick, even at higher speeds. I don't know where it gets all that torque, but man, is it good. So if you do like daily commuting via a motorway, let's say 60-70 kilometers motorways, you'll use up about half of your battery. And you know, that's not really a problem. You just charge it every day and that's it. So yeah, it's completely possible to use this as a commuter on the motorway. Just don't do long trips. There is a bit more wind noise than usual, but otherwise it's actually really comfortable. It's a nice little cruiser for the motorway. So that's good. Compared to the Renault Zoe, the Nissan Leaf well, it feels a lot more like a car. That's not to say that the Zoe is not a car, it just feels more like a fun washing machine. But this is more like a car. There's not as much plastics, hard plastics everywhere. There still are, but a lot of the stuff is clad in this nice soft material, some leather or pleather here and there as well. It's nice. It feels a little more premium. I also like the infotainment system. It's good, easy to use. I like the look of it. You still get nice physical buttons. It is a little bit choppier than I'm used to in Nissans though. And the instrument cluster is quite interesting. You've got the analog speedometer and then a digital screen, which shows you a lot of information. This car has, I believe, a 110 kilowatt electric motor under the bonnet. I think it's over there. And it has a good 300 Newton meters of torque, which is a lot. That's pretty much diesel territory. It has a lot more power than the Renault Zoe, and just a little less than the BMW i3, which means that it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So if you're going like 50 kilometers per hour, or if you're at a standstill and you press full throttle, you are going to have wheel spin, and a lot of it. If it's wet outside, you're going to have wheel spin at 80, 90 kilometers per hour. Not a problem. And of course, that also means that, if you press the throttle, all of a sudden you've got that instant torque, and it sucks you into the seats. It's a lot of fun, and kids like me should not be driving cars like this. I know you're supposed to drive eco with an eco-friendly electric car, even though, if we're completely honest, they're not that eco-friendly at the moment. Okay, let's talk about range and consumption, energy, electricity consumption. So I took this car from my town to another town, and I took the highway or the motorway, and I said, you know, the battery is at 100% charge. I'll take it from here, there, and, you know, across that town and back, both times on the motorway. So we'll see what's what. I had 3 people in the car. We had heating of the seats. By the way, the rear seats are heated as well. We had a heating of the seats. We had the heater on, which of course in an electric car you can shut off heating completely. And I was going 140 kilometers per hour. I was not really going eco on the motorway. And when I came back, I think it was like 80 kilometers, of which 60 were roughly on the motorway. I had 52% battery left. And I think that's pretty good. Of course, you know, electric cars really aren't suited for motorways that much at high speeds, because they just absolutely guzzle electricity. They're not gas guzzlers, they're electricity guzzlers. But I think that's pretty good. I would dare to say, if you drove this car as it's intended, mostly through the city, you might get around 250 kilometers. You know, it's a much more powerful engine, and it has roughly the same battery size as the updated Renault Zoe. So yeah, 250, that's not bad. Okay, I'm really sorry about the guerrilla style recording right now, and if my hands are shaking, I don't have steady shot on my hands, but I wanted to show you my seating position. Now this is how I sit in the car. That's my foot on the pedal. It seems okay, but this is a tiny little bit of a problem. The Japanese are very good at technology. They're very, you know, they work like bees all the day, but it seems like they designed this car with their own dimensions in mind, because, well, us Europeans aren't really that small. And I'm on average height, and this is as far as the seat will go down, and look where I'm sitting in relation to the steering wheel. This is, by the way, the maximum height of the steering wheel as well. So yeah, it's okay, but it's a little bit weird, and especially my colleague, the cameraman, is 190 centimeters or thereabouts, and if he sits, it's a little bit like this. So it's a little comical. I'm not really sure what they were thinking with that. This seat should go further down. So I wanted to show you this digital screen here, which shows you a lot of information. And, you know, there's more. There's Bluetooth music, there's navigation, there's your eco driving, average consumption. There's lots and lots and lots of stuff, and it's pretty cool. It's nice. You can also customize a lot of the things. But I wanted to also show you this, that you can heat up your car when you're not in it. You've got your little timers here, which is pretty cool. So for example, if I'm leaving on Wednesday at 11:10, for example, I can set it to that in 24 degrees, and I want that to be on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, for example. So that's pretty nice. You can, you know, select your routine, and the car will always be nice and toasty. The only downside is, for this system to work, the car has to be plugged in. So it's kind of a shame. I would wish that would also work on battery. I understand that it does, you know, draw a lot of current, the heater, but you know, it's just, if it's 100%, it would be nice to use that as well. And also this, when I was charging the Renault Zoe a couple of years ago, it was actually tripping my circuit breakers because I suppose there was too much current going. Now with this one, you can actually select 6 kilowatts, 3 kilowatts, or 50 kilowatts for the quick charge. So that's pretty cool. And I do have to say that I have no problems charging it at 6 kilowatts at home with just a normal plug. Nice. There's a couple more things that I really like with the Leaf. One is logical, because it's an electric car, it's so nice and quiet in here. All you hear is really the roll of the tires and a little bit of a whine of the motor every now and then at certain RPMs. But, you know, otherwise it's just so nice and quiet. It's when you stop at a traffic light, it's almost dead silence apart from the fan. So that's awesome. And the other thing is, all too often when they make electric cars, they make them look like these weird, crazy, futuristic things that, you know, people shy away from buying because they just look so weird. Take a look at the previous generation of the Leaf, for example. It's just this inflated bubble thing that you don't really want to be seen driving in. But this car actually looks like a car, and looks good at that.
The most basic Leaf is not sold in Europe, while prices start at 35,500 euros. For the top-of-the-line model, you'll pay just over 40,000 euros, and don't forget any cashback incentives as well. The ProPilot Assist, which I didn't even mention, I promise to test thoroughly in an upcoming video.